Staying with the theme of young companies, we've had a number of them presenting in the Innovation Fair, and I hope you've already visited their booths. Out of these companies, we've selected several for our very own Pitch Slam. Now, this is going to move quickly, so please listen carefully. In order to carry this forward, I want to introduce my colleague and friend, Todd Headley, the president of CSU Ventures, to lead our Pitch Slam. Come on, Todd.
Thank you, Greg. Take it. Thank you, everyone. I'll tell you, I need this. If anybody's been following the tournament, I'm an Iowa State Cyclone graduate, and it was a rough morning, let me tell you. I hope not too many of you picked them to go very far in the tournament. So just a quick word on CSU Ventures. CSU Ventures, we're primarily the technology transfer office for Colorado State University. And our mission is to transfer intellectual property and innovation from the university outside to companies and consumers. And just as a point of reference, over the last 6 years, we've had about 600 invention disclosures from CSU that we processed, and over 100 of those fall into the agricultural category, so it's really a significant part of what we do. So, on to the Pitch Slam. So we have 6 companies, and this is really an opportunity for them to take 5 minutes to get some exposure to an audience, to present, to explain what they do. And if you're in the audience, if you're an investor, a potential partner, I'm sure they would be more than happy to talk to you after this. We also have a panel of judges right down here who will be selecting the top 3 companies. There's a $1,000 prize for first place, $400 for second place, and $200 for third place. So without further ado, we are going to start with thin air nitrogen. Thin air nitrogen uses locally sourced cyanobacteria to produce sustainable zero-carbon fertilizer with greater crop yield potential than traditional fertilizer and none of the environmental degradation. And Jessica is going to be the presenter.
Hi, I'm Jessica Davis. I'm a CSU professor of soil science, and I'm the president and co-founder of Thin Air Nitrogen Solutions. Thin Air empowers farmers to produce fertilizer on farm. Why is this important? Well, the carbon footprint of crop production is fully 2/3 attributed to nitrogen fertilizer alone. That carbon footprint is so high because of the energy used to make the fertilizer, transport it and apply it to farm ground, and then due to greenhouse gas emissions that are emitted after the fertilizer is applied. So wouldn't it be cool if we could use solar energy instead and grow the fertilizer on farms so we can cut out that distribution step? And at the same time, we could cut the greenhouse gas emissions after they're applied. And wouldn't it be cool if it could actually be certified organic, so both organic and conventional farmers could use it? That's what you see in this picture in the background in the hoop house. We're doing exactly that. If you got inside there, you'd see this. See shallow ponds with a green liquid moving around in those ponds. And what's going on there is that nitrogen is being fixed from the air and converted into forms that plants can use in the water. And then every 2 weeks, we can harvest that water and apply it through irrigation systems to the plants when and where they need that nitrogen. And here's the key, the cyanobacteria that are living in that green water. This organism is found in soils all over the world, and they can photosynthesize and fix nitrogen from the air. So they are effectively like solar-powered fertilizer factories. So the market we're focusing on is irrigated organic farmers in the southwestern US. The organic sector is the fastest growing sector in agriculture in the USA today and has been for several years. Organic farmers spend more than $150 million per year on fertilizer alone. And the cost that they're spending per pound of nitrogen is about 100 times what conventional farmers pay. So that's our target market. The competitors in that market are primarily other organic fertilizers that are quick release, and especially those that are in liquid form and can be applied through irrigation systems, especially fish emulsions and fertilizers like that. So cyanofertilizer is not only made by farmers on their own farms, it's going to be cheaper than fish emulsion and reduces the carbon footprint of crop production. The yields on crops that are grown with it are at least as good as those grown with other fertilizers. And our data shows that nutritional quality is often higher and water use efficiency is improved too. So how do we take this great idea and make a sustainable business model out of it? We're selling 3 products: a startup kit, so farmers have everything they need to grow their own fertilizer; consumables, so they can keep on growing them; and our service, troubleshooting service, so that they can optimize their production. We have a great team with both technical and business skills in place. And we have prototypes at CSU's Horticulture Research Farm and on 5 other organic farms around the state of Colorado. We've decided not to pursue a patent because we think it would be very hard to enforce it because of the distributed nature, but we do have an IP protection plan using trade secrets, copyrights, and a branding and marketing plan. We even have customers lining up and asking us for the startup kits. We have strategic relationships in place and are seeking distribution partners. And now we've gotten to this point using founder contributions and grant funding, and now we are seeking investors to take us to the next step. But we don't just want investment, we're hoping for the energy and creativity and a shared vision in that package. So, Thin Air, we have customers waiting for startup kits, and we'd like to move forward, but we need a few additional partners. Won't you come and join us? Thank you.
Our next company is Ideas Bioenergy. Ideas Bioenergy aims to provide a solution for sequestering the vast amounts of carbon dioxide being emitted into the atmosphere by recycling these carbon emissions into a process that outputs large volumes of algae biomass that in turn can be used to produce a variety of high-quality sustainable commodities. So I want to welcome Tamir and Sean to the stage.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Jessica. You're going to make our pitch so much easier. So we are Ideas Bioenergy. I'm Sean Ortiz, and this is my partner, Tamir Mohammed. And we are going to ask you guys to try and rethink CO2 with us. Next. So let's look at the problem. Industrial Revolution, and I don't want to beat this on your guys' head because I know you guys have been hearing it for the past 2 days. The Industrial Revolution was necessary, and as a result, planes, trains, automobiles, and tons of CO2. So we have an overabundance of CO2 in our atmosphere. That's a problem. Next. Meanwhile, conventional or commercial agricultural techniques are destroying our land. We're seeing huge droughts, especially in California, places like Texas. They have no freshwater resources, and that's a problem. Carbon is not staying in the soil as we need it to hold water and to hold water retention. Next. And as a result, we have runoff. So all of our fertilizers, not all of our fertilizers, but salt-based fertilizers, which are soluble in water, are running off into our lakes, waters, and streams, polluting all of our natural ecosystems and killing off all of our valuable wildlife that we depend on to live. Next. All of this is happening. We're wasting our nutrients, just sending them into our freshwater resources, which are already dwindling, and phosphorus is going to be gone in the next 50 to 100 years. So it's limited. So what do we need? We need sustainable solutions in agriculture. We need renewably produced products, fertilizers, pesticides. We need these products to add soil carbon, not remove it. We need that so we can increase our water retention, so we can keep our valuable freshwater resources and reduce runoff, so we're not polluting our lakes, water streams, and killing our marine ecosystems. We also need products that support soil biodiversity, products that feed the biological community and keep the cycle going. So I'm gonna give this off to Tamir, and he's gonna introduce the pure algae product and some of what we're doing today.
Awesome, thank you. So, all those problems that we hear about constantly, especially in this conference, are alleviated a little bit thanks to this pure algae, all natural soil amendment. This gallon here helps to create the perfect environment for the plant growth, as well as promotes, soil diversity, soil microbial diversity, and overall soil health. But don't listen to me. Let me tell you about one of the customers that's trialed our product, Pure Algae. Leon Caldwell from Comanche Oaks Organics has a 5-acre farm down in Texas, and he says the results are astounding. No bugs and no organic fertilizer, 10 to 20% faster maturation time to the applied plants, less problem with plant disease, promotion of good, healthy soils, and the end results are beautiful fruits, vegetables, and greens. In addition to Leon's trials and other trial farms, we've also gotten pure algae validated at the University of Texas at Austin. It's here, you can see it's being tested on rice against anabaina and nonstock. The first two pictures on your left-hand side. The middle picture is a control, just water, and the fourth is urea, common synthetic fertilizer. As you can see, rice grown with the pure algae shows a greener, darker, healthier color. It actually yielded 30% more grains than the other urea-grown rice. So not only has this been validated at farms, but it's also been validated at the University of Texas. In addition to that, the big pillar in our business is a photobioreactor, is what we're using to manufacture algae. Instead of the open ponds, these are vertical tubes that are modular and add scalability to our business model. Not only do we know exactly what we can produce from each module, but we're able to bring on modules as we see fit instead of investing capital before we know, there's a market for it. In addition, the photobioreactor could be used to produce numerous other strains that could be sold into different markets as well. From this, our business model for the first phase with the pure algae comes from selling a gallon for $200 per gallon. It costs us around $50 to produce it, so we're able to quickly return our investment from that. And then the last slide, I'd like to leave you by this quote: "Stop growing crops. The most important thing you can do for the planet is to start growing soil." Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sean and Tamir. Just a real quick introduction of our judges down here, just so everybody believes this is really happening. David Gold with Access Venture Partners, Denny Atsuga with CSU Ventures, Peter Adams with Rockies Venture Club, Maggie Flanagan with Innisphere, and Chris Shepard with Colorado Clean Tech Industry Association. If you want to please join me in thanking them for their time today. Okay, on to our next company. This is Visual Farms. Visual Farms combines the power of big data and the unparalleled accuracy of a new climate monitoring system to increase profitability for the American farmer and to improve food safety for the American consumer. Please welcome Margaret.
Thank you all, and nice to see you here. I'm Margaret Maisel. I'm the president of Visual Farms, a company right here in Fort Collins. For the last 10 years, my partner, I hope I've got this clicker right. Let's get can we move it? There we go. Have been supporting with large information systems some of the biggest companies in the world. About 3 years ago, we decided to change our focus, and that is to see if we can provide our information systems to equal the playing fields for farmers. Why did we decide to do this? And here's an example of a picture. This is a picture of variability and low profit margins of all of the farmers growing corn in Illinois between 1979 and 2014. This is the picture of variability and vulnerability. It's also a picture of why we have lost up to 40% of our mid-sized farms over the last 5 years. What's also a tragedy here is that these are often the younger farmers, they're college graduates, they're computer literate, and they often owned their own farms that gave way to consolidation. What do we think the causes are? We think that farmers have not had access to objective information that is science-based. I think people are starting to realize that more and more. But what are some of the causes? Here's an example, a little one. Monsanto claims that their hybrid seeds is the top performer in close to 99% of the controlled hybrid seed test plots. Monsanto claims that their hybrid seeds can achieve 88% of the best performers in hybrid seed test plots. And together, though, if you add up the information, it's hard to believe those claims. Most farmers get their information from the manufacturers and the producers. This is why we think they need to have independent sources of information. We also think there is an elephant in the field, and that is that farmers and members of the stakeholders in the food chain do not have access to timely, accurate, farm-based information about the status of the food production system and their position in it for benchmarking purposes and better decision-making. We build our tools within the complex of an ecosystem that includes plant-specific solar radiation, a history of farm management and farms, I think the mic's not working, and a history of production in crops over time. This is quite different from others who might build their models and their systems in components that might have just less than these components, and sometimes only one. We've already built 2 tools that have been proven to be profitable for farmers. One is CropFacts, a hybrid seed performance system that has been proven to increase yields by between 3 and 6% in 13 states in the United States. Farm Forecast, driven by our same agriclimate system, has proven to be similarly profitable for farmers while reducing costs. What is the value proposition for farmers? And that is that for 1% increase in input costs, you can achieve up to 25% of increase in net farm income. For farmers in 2009, this could have saved some family farms or helped to save some family farms. Okay, we also have built several other tools. One of our tools is Visual Farms. It is a patented system that connects farmers through their farm fields to landscapes. We're quite excited about new data-driven models that can help us build networks that are living configurations for the status of the structure, probably of the whole structure of agriculture in the United States over time. We also believe that our customers are not just farmers, they're members of the whole food chain and the 506,000 organizations that are connected to agriculture and also support these members of the food chain. Visual Farms can be built into a geosocial national network in which farmers exchange information between themselves about inputs, outcomes, solutions, and opportunities, and members of the food chain can also join the conversation. We expect that probably we would reach with no more than 2.3% of the farm market, something like 23% of this looks optimistic, a 32 million year 5 revenue. It's also, let's see now, how are we going to get to market? An important thing is we're going to use traditional and modern tools. We can use a farm team, we can go to farm shows, we can use social networks, but one of the more interesting things that we can use that's modern is geo-conversations. It can offer us one of the best modes for marketing, and that is word of mouth. Now, who are we, you're going to say? Jim Hall was the inventor of Deere's Gator. He also built a $2 billion worth set of products for Deere. As you can imagine, he modeled their $100 million retirement fund. And he also was the inventor of the yield monitor, and that was quite a long time ago. I come from the public sector. I built a large system that I sold to Deere, came here to Fort Collins to be vice president at Vantage Point Network of Integrated Systems. I now own a company, One Image, where we provided information systems to commercial manufacturers. I did chair the Virginia's Commission on Mapping and Surveying of Land Information Systems, and I'm a cow-calf operator. So what we are thinking now is that we've self-funded a lot of these tools. It's time, as you can guess, to move to find new partners in 3 rounds of funding. Probably we think when we get into a logarithmic phase of growth, we'll be growing at a rate of about 7% per week. And an investment to return ratio should be around 16 in our projections. Our gross margin is probably going to be close to 90%, typical for software packages in 5 years, and will probably return, we estimate, around Series A round by about year 3. What are we going to do with early funds? We're going backwards here. Let me press the right button. We're going to do this. We're going to integrate our tools on the web, which I've already described to you, so that we can start to build real data systems from our integrated systems for marketing, hiring, retiring, or hiring new employees and staff, and acquiring new investment. That's Visual Farms for the immediate present. I hope I was able to describe to you enough about some of our components at a very high level. Thank you very much.
All right, next up is Living Ink Technologies. Living Ink Technologies has developed a patent-pending process using algae, you see a theme of algae here, to create a more unique and sustainable world. The Living Ink has many applications, but the initial products are STEM toys, time-lapse greeting cards, and promotional products. Please welcome Scott. I think so.
All right, well, thank you. I'm the co-founder of Living Ink Technologies. I'm Scott Fulbright. What we do is we grow algae and we turn it into ink. My co-founder and I have always wanted to start something that was going to increase sustainability in the world and also inspire people to interact with science. This idea actually happened several summers ago. I was working in the laboratory doing my PhD research. My grandma's birthday was coming up. She likes a good greeting card, so I got stuck in this greeting card aisle. And it was there I had this aha moment that we can take algae and turn it into ink. So I talked to my co-founder about it. And we can take these algae cells that typically look like this in the laboratory, and we can transform it into beautiful ink that looks like this. The nice thing about algae is there's multiple colors. These are pigments that the algae have. Algae also have oil. Conveniently, traditional ink, 2 of the major components are pigments and oil that typically come from mined land to get the pigments and drilled oil wells. So right now, petroleum-based inks are not great. They're not renewable. There's some hazardous material in terms of our health. And even when we look down at our agenda today, there's potential heavy metals and carcinogens. We think the algae-based ink will not have heavy metals, will be sustainable and renewable. So we were excited about this. We started brainstorming. We got in the lab. We have a lab here at CSU. There's this huge market, this disruptive technology potentially. I've worked for several different companies that actually raised hundreds of millions of dollars and never got a product to market. There was never a revenue stream. So as we were developing this idea, oops, let's go back. Oh, I'm getting ahead. Don't see the product yet. It's not going backwards. That's forwards. All right, I'll skip the video. Okay, so this is a video. So this is actually living algae that's growing that we've turned into ink. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, a visual starts to appear. This is kind of fun. It's kind of a niche product. So this is kind of this other branch here where we can develop low-hanging fruit products, get it into the market, get revenue streams to fund this big idea. STEM toys, greeting cards, and promotional products. The idea here is I could send you a greeting card, and the greeting card would literally grow and change over time when you put it in the window with sunlight. We can actually control when these components show up. We have a 3D plotter in our laboratory where we're actually printing algae cells. We think this is a sticky messaging and actually makes greeting cards fun and interesting. We're kind of dorks at heart, as you can see here, as PhD students, and we've always done outreach. We've always been in the community. We've always been educating kids, and that's why we're excited about this product. And this is our first go-to-market strategy here. This is our first product. We've actually developed a pen that's loaded with algae cells so that when you write on paper, put it in the growth chamber, and expose it to light, it's a living ink pen. The way this works is there's two pens, one that grows fast, one that grows slow. So here you can see where one pen, the one that grows fastest on day one, there's two dots. There's also an image there that we can't necessarily see that was grown with the other pen. On day 3 with sunlight, the image shows up. We think this is educational fun, and it will allow kids to interact with science in a fun way and hopefully let them, inspire them to pursue science. We're excited because we're actually finalizing a license agreement with a toy company here in Colorado who thinks they can sell about 3 to 5 million units worldwide. They're already in stores like Brookstone. We sell our ink to the company, and we also have a license royalty. So in the end, in about 2018, we think our profits would be about 6.5 million based on those two revenue streams, and this is just that single toy product. Why are we well positioned to succeed? We bring intellectual property experience. We're both finishing our PhDs at CSU. I've worked for several biotech companies doing business development. We have a utility patent submitted, a laboratory here at CSU, and 2 employees and 2 co-founders that bring the technical expertise. We've raised $16,000. We've done all that with $16,000, mostly raised to the Blue Ocean Challenge. We look forward to continuing to grow, and we would love to have a conversation with you after this about growing, getting better. So this is the product. This is actually algae that was cultivated with sunlight. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Next company is Pure Cultures. Pure Cultures is dedicated to producing high-quality products that add health benefits and help solve issues related to the stresses of our industrial economy. They're experts in the development of products for both human and animal health. Please welcome Steve.
My name is Steve Cosme, and I am the founder of Pure Cultures, and I have about 20 years of production development and manufacturing of probiotics. About 5 years ago, I realized there just wasn't enough expertise to pull us forward in this really dynamic field of probiotics. So about 2 years ago, I started Pure Cultures, a probiotic technology company located in Denver, Colorado. I first assembled a great team, starting with a chemist from Vanderbilt University. Then I went about getting a facility, getting the equipment, starting with a laboratory. So our process, we start with isolating and identifying the strains in the laboratory. Then eventually our goal is to move to large-scale production. So in our process, we have 4 approaches that really help bring us a high quality expertise to our clients. Our clients really like the fact that we like holding their hands from the very beginning, starting with a research project in the lab, and then our goal is eventually to take that project all the way to our full-scale reactors that we have located in our Denver facility. So we have 3 primary targets. Our first primary market is the human health, the products that go like into GNC. That's a slam dunk, and the industry is really saturated with a lot of companies that are already supplying high quality products. So we're focusing now on the companion animal industry along with the production animal industry. So I'm sure you all have heard how much the probiotic industry is growing for humans. They've done a great job of bringing that probiotic information to the forefront. Just recently, Fast Company put together an article that talked about the $750 million pet supplement industry. And a big part of that is going to be the digestive health, which is probiotics. I'm sure a lot of you heard in one of the panelists, they brought it up earlier, that McDonald's has pledged to remove antibiotics from their chicken products. That's a great entrance for us here. 80% of all antibiotics that are used in the United States are actually used to fatten up our production animals, so not used for preventative health issues. So what we'd like to do is take that opportunity, and in general, when antibiotics are eliminated, probiotics are a first tool. So we'd like to start working to get probiotics into companion animals, making healthier companion animals, but really going after that ag industry where large-scale use of antibiotics is currently used, and we could use probiotics as a natural way to make the herd healthier and at the same time reduce pathogens. A lot of probiotics actually have antipathogenic properties such as anti-salmonella. So at this time, what I'd like to do is thank CSU for having us here. And what we're looking to do is to partnership with some current researchers that can bring us access to some of the cattle facilities. And at the same time, we can do large-scale research where we can supplement our product into those herds to see if we can get healthier animals without antibiotics. And we're always looking for investors, and we are located in Denver, and we are eligible. Any investor in us is eligible for the Advanced Industry Investment Tax Credit. So again, I thank CSU. It's been great.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, our last presenter with Behavioral Response Technologies. Behavioral Response Technologies develops new technologies to help its customers improve the health of each animal and their care, increase overall production, and reduce risk and operating costs. The vision is of a world where animal health and well-being are in sync with the business goals of the producers and the health goals of the consumers. Please join me in welcoming RT.
Thank you, everybody. I know we're about 5 minutes away from a cold one, so I'm going to give you some good news. You all know more about this probably than I do, so this is going to be a quick one, so we'll get to that beer quicker than you might think. Second bit of good news is I'm going to tell you how you can eat more, or how eating more can make you more healthy, make your bottom line more healthy if you're a producer, a vet, or a dairyman, or a nutritionist, as well as take over and make the animal more healthy itself. Our big challenge, everybody on this planet is faced with overpopulation, but what's not really focused on is the demand for animal-based proteins. The emerging markets in Brazil, India, and China are demanding more as their economies are rising. So we need to find a way to feed this increasing demand. So how is the world feeding these people? Currently, globally, with a herd of about 3 billion animals in sheep, goats, and cows, but we're not going to focus on that today. We're going to focus on really what it means to us in the U.S. This is basically a total available market on the left, and here is our domestic opportunity, focusing specifically on cows. So we're going to focus primarily on the dairy cows. Now, how can we feed all these people? It's either with more animals or making these animals more efficient. So this is the part where if you know anything about animal husbandry, you know this backwards and forwards. But for those that don't know, these are the next two slides you need to pay attention to. Behaviorally, animals, regardless of whatever type, become less active and as a result eat less when they're stressed, sick, or injured. As a result, it further compromises their immune system, which prolongs illness and impacts their most important value, their ability to produce. By night eating, obviously that reduces the feed in. By taking a lot of the energy that they can consume and converting that into immune-related responses, it robs the ultimate product of either dairy or beef in this case. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about fresh cows. For those that don't know, fresh cows are cows that have just calved. And they're also, in addition to being stressed, sick, and injured, also are biologically challenged because their digestive tract has been reduced by 30%. Hormonally, they have cortisol released in the system that lessens their appetite. And they're putting out more milk in terms of energy than they could possibly consume. So this really prolongs their immunosuppression. So what is the solution? Well, actually, one more thing. This is called the negative energy balance. Over the course of the period post-freshening, they have to provide energy towards body maintenance, recovery, growth, before they get to the things that we really value, milk production and reproduction. So what have we designed? We've designed a patent-pending, award-winning technology called the Fresh Cow Manager that is programmed to get your cows up and eating in between milking periods. Let me get it plugged in. And what that does, if you can hear it, through vibration, basically gooses the cow in between the milking periods so that they get up and do the things and behaviorally that we want them to do. Again, eat and drink more. When they do that, that expands that rumen back out to normal and what we believe is beyond. Because what we found here is that our cows that have been using our technology, it goes on them for 3 weeks post-freshening, have not only 3-week results, but have full lactation results in 10 to over 14%. Now, what does that translate to? In terms of pounds, it's well over thousands of pounds. So over a ton of milk per stimulated animal, hundreds of gallons, resulting in, at current milk prices at $17.60 a hundredweight, over $350 per head per dairyman per year. We think this is a very valuable opportunity to not only naturally produce more, but solve the health problems before the hormones, steroids, and antibiotics are prescribed in 90 to 120 days. This value in terms of just milk output, nationally in the US is over $3 billion. Internationally is over $90 billion. Now, if that doesn't interest you, I'm not sure we want to talk anyway, but if it does, we're in the next room in the corner. I would love to sit down and talk about how we can execute this with technology so easy, even a cow can use it. Thank you.
Please join me again in thanking the 6 companies that came up here today to present. They did a great job.